what's up? Red Panda Anthem. Red Panda, what's good? Red Panda Anthem.
What should investors be looking for in terms of volatility index to know the worst of if this crash is over?
Yeah. Are we looking at percentages of the VIX? What are we looking at, Ian?
We're looking for 40 or higher. If we get to 45, it's going to be tough. But Mark, I want everyone right now to set an alert at 45 and 40. If we get to 45, that's the max that we should hit, unless we have some kind of cataclysmic event, natural disaster, another pandemic or endemic kind of situation, changing of the guard politically or geopolitically. We shouldn't hit that number, but if we hit 45, that will be the point where normally if we hit 40 or 45, the market starts to slide to the downside. During quantitative easing, the low of the VIX used to be 10. I think the new normal for a low for the VIX would be around like 18 to 20. I don't know if we'll hit the lows of 10 anytime soon without quantitative easing. So 20 to 18 would be like the new adjusted level, for sure.
So we got up to 36 today. Intraday, the NASDAQ hit its 52-week low. Mm-hmm. And so are these the signs that we should look like, all right, there's two ways we can look at it. There's more room to fall, or are we nearing a bottom?
Can we just tell them what the VIX is?
A volatility index?
Yeah.
So the volatility index it tells you how the actual market is moving to an upside, how volatile it is from an upside to a downside. So as the number goes up, there's more volatility. As the number goes down, less volatility. So when Ian's saying 45, the number is 45. If you type in VIX on any stock chart, it'll show you, like we got up to 36 today. That number gets up to 45. That means it's high volatility. You should expect to see a downtrend in the market. If it gets lower, right, we start seeing 20s and 18s. From where it's at now, you should see an uptick in the market. So you start seeing the Dow move in a positive direction. You'll see the S&P move in a positive direction, and you'll see the NASDAQ move in a positive direction.
Yeah, 40 on the VIX is like a heat check. Is like a warning that the one engine may be out on the proverbial plane. 45 is like both engines are out and we're have to land in water. So if we haven't passed, I think 37 or 38, maybe in 4 or 5 months. But if we touch 40, start to get a little bit worried. But if we clip 45, that's when I will really have some deeper concerns. Yeah, all this to be wrapped up probably by the end of the year. I think we're only going to end up maybe 7%. It's going to be a rough year, but it's going to be a year within a normal range of what we're supposed to be in.
Yeah. Last time we touched 40 on the VIX was October 28th, 2020. We were at 40.28.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not that far off.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about this. Okay, Warren Buffett, Berkshire Hathaway,
98, right?
98?
How old is he?
I don't think he's that old.
Is he 92?
I think he's like 91 or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
Can somebody Dan put it in chat?
Dan got us.
Yeah, Dan got us for sure.
Yeah, Charlie Munger might be 98.
He's up there.
He's I think
Charlie's
he's older. But they had their annual shareholder meeting. And, a lot of different things happen. So I want to talk about a few things from that. But the first, so a couple of years ago, Warren Buffett said that Bitcoin would go to zero. He said it was worthless. And I think, I don't want to misquote him, but I think recently, like this weekend, he said he wouldn't buy all the Bitcoin in the world for $25.
He did say that.
So that's telling me that he's saying Bitcoin is worthless. If you're saying that you could have every single Bitcoin in the world and you have $25 in your pocket and you won't pay $25 for every single Bitcoin, then you see no use case. You think it's actually worth nothing. That's a bold statement. So how do we feel about him saying that?
The Bitcoin, I love Warren dearly, laid a great foundation for me to be able to walk on. Any asset technically can go to zero, and there's a bunch of factors that, every bank, every institution at one time, and there would have to be it would have to come out that Putin actually owns all of Bitcoin, or he was the mastermind behind it, right? To go to zero. The probability of it going to zero is less than 1%. So I think that's a little bit far off. The $25 comment, I don't know what his rationale is. Maybe for a long-term investment or the amount of capital that they have, maybe I can understand it. But to say that he wouldn't own any of it at 25, I think it's a mistake. But I have to be honest, it's really hard to question a billionaire and a person with that much internal access and with the amount of information that he's privy to. Whenever someone with his track record says something like that, there's usually a hidden message inside of it. And I'm wondering if he's trying to like slowly reveal that the powers that be may be trying to push it down. But the probability of it going to zero is less than 1%.
Yeah, I think every shareholder meeting, they're saying the same message. I think, and people putting the age in there. He's 91. Charlie's actually 98. But I think Charlie at one point said it's evil. I'm just like, they're going to remind us every meeting that they don't believe in Bitcoin. It's something deeper there.
Charlie said some very derogatory things about Robinhood also.
He did. He did.
Is it derogatory if it's slightly true? It's not what you say, it's how you say
it. Shout out to our alumni. Yeah, he did. He did. But, let's talk about some of the things that actually did happen. Positive things that actually can help some of the people that are watching here. And so one of the things that was brought up was the Activision deal, right? Mm-hmm. He owns 9% of it now, right?
Yeah.
And so most people are looking at that like, hey, where did that come from? Obviously, he's not just making just random investments. But if people were worried about the Microsoft Activision deal going through, I think this is a good sign.
A great sign. Right? That's the greenest of flags you can get.
Yeah. So like if you're a Microsoft investor and you were like, hey, what if this deal doesn't go through? There's some talks you just had one of the greatest investors, if not the great, just increase his stake by 9% ownership in the company on the contingency that deal goes through, which probably means that this deal is going to go through.
I mean, and on top of everyone listening, they're investing in Bitcoin. So even though they're making this commentary, they are actively investing in Bitcoin at this moment. So that was a big lesson I want you guys to take away from it. You cannot like something, but you need a certain amount of exposure to every asset class on earth. I don't know what information he has. I mean, I think if it comes out that Putin owns a considerable amount of it, or Russia does, I think that will change the valuation of it. But
they had a man in the audience who also used to say things about Bitcoin sitting right in front of them as they were making that, by the name of Jamie Dimon. Mm-hmm. Everyone at Chase. But, he used to say the same things and then come to find out that they're invested in Bitcoin. So you just never know.
Yeah, I mean, those two scenarios are a little bit different. I think, man, honestly, anytime a new recession is in the works, I don't know what he's thinking at all. And I got a good book recommendation for you guys as well. The Most Important Thing Illuminated by Howard Marks. Amazing book. You guys should read that. I don't think Warren is able to say what is really on his mind, especially with the market being in such turmoil. He could flip the market one way or another. I don't think he is doing a bait and switch, kind of like how another investor did around 2015, 2016. But I do think there could be a cataclysmic event that will push Bitcoin to like that 29,000 area that we talked about prior, and all the details on that. And I think once it gets revealed how deeply integrated banks and big hedge funds are into the top 15 crypto, I think most of the constituents that use them are going to be incredibly upset.
Yeah, man. And Activision shares was up 9.5% after it came out that Berkshire Hathaway owned so much of it. Mm-hmm. And Berkshire A is currently at $485,000 per share. And it's been positive for the last 3 months. So it's actually outperformed. Say what you want about Warren Buffett, but he's actually outperforming at 90 years old. At 90 years old, he's outperforming the market. His share, his stock is almost $500,000 a share.
That's and so he bought that, and he bought more, or he bought Chevron, up to stake in Chevron. Obviously, we know that they're big investors in Apple, and they're big investors in the drinks that they had at the meeting, Coca-Cola. So, they're just doing things that they invest in. But this is a key lesson too. Everybody should take this, right? and you probably overlooked it. And we always talk about when it's red, we don't panic. So here's what else they also did. They ramped up their stock bets by more than $51 billion during the first quarter amid the broader market's downturn. So while the market was falling, they were just adding to position $51 billion worth of investing while everyone was panicking. And so it goes to show you what the greatest investors are doing, right? When they see red, they don't panic. They pick their spots and they invest. And they're doing it for the long term. He said this thing, even when they're done, right? When they're long gone, Berkshire Hathaway will live on forever.
Absolutely.
Forever and ever.
And here's the crazy part. They were a net seller of stocks in 2020 and 2021. So like, imagine like if you're playing ball and you're underneath a 6-foot rim and you're 6 feet. If you jump, what are you going to do? You're going to hit your head. There's no room for you to be able to go up. Now, without quantitative easing, the rims may be at 9 feet. Now it's time for them to buy. So when you see net seller versus net buying, only look at the top 5 and see if they're buying now. Now you have asymmetric risk to reward ratio that is in your favor. So when everyone is panicking and buying off a hype, they're getting killed. Now when there's blood in the streets, now is the time to get the deal. So this is why I always say patience pays. Wealth, requires silence. You would have thought that they lost their ability and reign as some of the greatest investors of all time, and they're actually doing better than everyone else. So what does that tell you? You need to be more quiet, more patient than everyone else. Like they were negative in buying 2020 and 21. And I'm sure all their clients are like, what the hell are you doing? And look at it now. They're beating the S&P 500 and NASDAQ.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And for anybody that doesn't know, they do have a B share, which is a lot more affordable, $318. So their A share is $400 and something thousand per share, but the B share is $318.
And think about this: the stock is $400,000 without technicals and knowing when to get in. Whew. Future's bright.
Any more takeovers from the Berkshire Hathaway situation before we move
on? Key takeaways. I agree with the quote. Like Wall Street makes a lot of money when people are gambling, and if I can argue to everyone on Wall Street and inside the industry, I remember in 2008, 9, and 10 when you guys said we wish we had more retail investors in the community. Now we're here, and now it's like, well, I don't want you using Robinhood. Why? You have to pick. Because we can all leave, like how we did in 2008, and it messes up your money. But I think there has been a monetization attempt and money grab amongst those who don't know. And I think we've played a great part in trying to help keep people disciplined and to buy at the right spots. But just be patient. Like the worst investors and gamblers are going to lose everything now. And then the ones that are patient, like you guys here watching tonight, are going to make a killing. In 2 or 3 years, you're going to look back and be like, I remember when everybody was panicking and Ian Rashad said it was going to be fine. And now I'm up and now I'm about to send my kid to college and don't have to worry about. I love those stories. Just be patient and wait. Patience in any business is what pays the most.
The market pays those who are patient.
Absolutely. And if I get this last point, the last time we've been in a scenario when stocks are down this much, 1932, the market ended up 13.1% for the year. 1939 ended up 14%. 1941 ended up was down 8.2%. 1942 was up 29% for the year. 1970 was up 11.3%, and we all know 2020 ended up positive. Hold for the long term. Kudos to my brother Frederick. He told us on Stock Club Call maybe 3 weeks ago, the only advantage that we have as retail investors is to be able to hold longer than hedge funds. Please put hold longer than hedge funds in chat. And lo and behold, what are the only ones that are safe? Apple. Well, he put $600 million more into Apple. What does that tell you? Safety has arrived. Apple is outperforming the bond market as a hedge. What else do you need to know? Apple, Microsoft, VO, Google. It's all over about the shouting. Leave everything else alone.
This that Red Panda Anthem. Ian, what's up? This that Red Panda Anthem. Red Panda, what's good? Red Panda Anthem. Whole clip going up. I know they can't stand it.